Doyle. Welcome to Classroom Connections. Today's show, I'm really excited about the topic. It's the Branford Early Childhood Collaborative. And we have two guests here to talk about it. One of our guests is Dr. Kate Marsland, who is an associate professor of psychology at Southern Connecticut University. She's also on the affiliate faculty at Ziegler Center at Yale. And importantly, she's the co-chair of the Branford Early Childhood Collaborative. And Kate, well, if you're looking at your camera, is wearing solid black. Wave to camera, Kate. Thank you. Our next guest is Jennifer Heath. She's the Executive Vice President of the United Way of Greater New Haven. And you can wave too.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so glad you're both guests today on the show.
Thank you.
The Early Childhood Collaborative is a very important topic. And Kate, why don't we start with you first. And for the viewers who have no idea what is the Branford Early Childhood Collaborative?
Well, thanks, Jen. And Jen, thanks very much for having us on. This is great. So the Branford Early Childhood Collaborative, nicknamed the BECC, is a group of individuals who've come together. We've been working together since about 2001. And our goal really is to make Branford an even better place than it already is to raise children. And to improve outcomes for children birth through age 8.
Well, what do you mean improve outcomes? What does that mean exactly?
Well, our mission is to ensure that all Branford children birth through age 8 are happy, healthy, safe, and successful learners in school and in life.
Well, that's a good point that you make. But Kate, how do you get your funding to do all of this?
Well, we're very fortunate. We received a comprehensive early childhood partnership grant through the William Casper Graustein Memorial Fund. And a match from the State Department of Education. So as a funded community, we're one of 20 funded communities in the state of Connecticut right now through a competitive RFP process. We received $50,000 from the Graustein Memorial Fund over 2 years. That's $25,000 a year for 2 years, and a $10,000 state match last year from the State Department of Education. We're hoping that if everything works out this year, we'll also receive a match from the State Department of Education this year as well.
Now these funds, we were talking prior to the show went on about the situation with the budget in the state of Connecticut. Are these funds in danger at all? It just occurred to me.
Well, I think they are.
Oh, really?
I think everything's up in the air at the moment. There was a strong commitment to trying to secure those funds again this year. And I do believe that the governor's office and the legislature both are still committed to that. They're strongly committed to early childhood in the state. I think everything is just in limbo at the moment. We'll have to wait and see how it all falls out.
Well, that's a good point. And I think the entire country knows the importance of early childhood programs. I think perhaps for several years there was not that emphasis on it. So I think a lot of information is out there that will help your cause. Jennifer, what is the role of the United Way in this program?
We actually serve as the fiduciary for the Branford Collaborative. That means we help them manage their money. They're not a separate nonprofit organization. They're a collaborative, which means lots of different people from lots of different organizations and community members and parents have come together to work on this issue. And so we provide the financial support in terms of helping to manage their money and handle reports.
That's huge.
Yes, we see it really as part of our commitment to serving the community, because we have that capacity as an organization to make sure the money is used well and reported on correctly. But the other way we participate is on the collaborative itself. And we're really doing that because we see the Branford Collaborative's work as part of our Success by 6 initiative.
Now you just mentioned Success by 6. Did you ever say that fast 3 times?
It's hard.
Because I just found myself having some issues with it. But what exactly is that?
Success by 6 is United Way's effort to make sure that all children enter school developmentally on track. And we look at it holistically. So we look at a child in terms of their health, their literacy, their social, their emotional, and their intellectual skills. And really we want to make sure that all children are ready for school regardless of race or their socioeconomic status.
Now you just used a word that some people might not understand, developmentally on track. What does that mean exactly?
Well, it means that they are where they should be for their age, for their stage of development. And there's a range for every child, and all children develop at their own pace. But there are certain things that children should be able to do, certain behaviors they should exhibit in order to be ready for kindergarten. And so that's what a lot of the early childhood work is about, is making sure that children have the experiences and the positive relationships that they need in their life to make sure they have that good foundation so that when they enter kindergarten, they're really ready.
Yes, that is a really good point. And you also mentioned that everyone is at a different space, but that's what developmental is all about, that you don't have to, it's not lockstep,
Exactly.
but at their own rate. When you say ready for school, that's another interesting term. When I was a kid 100 million years ago, if you were 5 or 6, you were now ready. You went to kindergarten and that was that. What has changed between when I was a child and maybe you? You're not that old. You both look like babies, but
I'm not that young either.
Neither am I.
okay, fine. Okay, but you know, did you just go when it was time for school, or was that concept around with you?
Well, I think that the concept of nursery school has been around for a long time, and certainly, actually, New Haven has a long, rich history of
Head Start?
well, not just Head Start, but even before that, back with the Industrial Revolution, with Lila Day, for example, of, I can't remember, I've lost the word for it, but the,
It was one of the first nursery schools
not
in the
just
country.
nursery school, but it was, yeah, so it was a nursery school
New
model.
Haven had one of the first nursery schools in the
Lila
country.
Day.
Oh, that's interesting.
But also, you know, historically, middle-class families have sent their kids to nursery school. Right? Now, you know, since the 70s, we see that with the rise of the dual income family, more and more people have to, out of necessity, have 2 people working, and more people are putting their children into childcare, right? And now we're looking at childcare, the early care and education system, really as kind of a platform for really preparing children to be ready by 5. And what I love about the Graustein Initiative is it's really aligned with the Connecticut framework, which is ready by 5 and fine by 9, because we're really pulling this through the entire early childhood developmental continuum through age 8. To ensure that all children by the end of 3rd grade really are on track, particularly in reading, because we know that if children are reading on grade level by the end of 3rd grade, that predicts long-term educational success.
And if they haven't mastered by the end of 3rd grade and be on grade level, I'm not saying they can't,
No.
but it's extremely
The further you
difficult
get
to
out,
catch
the
up.
harder it is to shift that developmental
Yes, it is.
trajectory.
And if I could just add to that, Kate, not only are we talking about wanting children to be ready, but we're talking really about wanting schools to be ready for children so
Yes.
that they have the welcoming environment that encourages kids learning. And we really want ready communities, which means that families and communities are nurturing and supporting young children and really wrapping their arms around those families and those
And
kids.
that's what this is all about. I mean, really, so Branford is funded. The Early Childhood Collaborative, the BECC, we received the grant. We wrote the grant for the community, we received the grant. But Branford, the community, is funded to do this so that we all wrap ourselves around the children in order to promote their optimal development and ensure their optimal success.
How can a community get involved? Because when you talk a community, it's made up of, you know, what if someone doesn't have children or is a grandparent, never married? How does someone who has an interest in children get involved in something like this? Who would like to take it?
Well, there are lots of different ways. I'll just give you a start. So we have some literature here. Right? This is our brochure, which you can find all around town. We have it at the library. We have it at a lot of the merchants in town because we're partnered with a lot of organizations already, one of which is pediatricians' offices have them. And we also have a website. So the website is www.branfordbecc, that's all one word, .org. www.branfordbecc.org, and we currently have our old website up, which is beautiful, but it's not as powerful as we'd like it. And within a couple of weeks, by mid-July, we'll be launching our new website. But you can get a lot of information there, including our brochure, and including a list of what you can do if you want to get involved.
Can you give me an example? Like, what could I do?
So one of the very first things I would ask people to do would be to spread the word. So read about it, and then spread the word. Because we really need, in order to it's to succeed in developing this comprehensive community plan, which we need to develop by next March and submit for funding, and I'll talk about that in a second. We need as many people in this town as possible to be aware of it, and to be helping us understand what needs to go into that plan.
I see.
Right?
I see.
So we have to identify, the first thing we have to do is identify the needs. So help us figure out what's necessary in order to achieve this outcome of making sure that all kids are happy, healthy, safe, and successful learners, right? So we need people to help us understand that. We also need people to tell us what's working, because Brantford is a great community. People move here because it's a wonderful community.
It is a wonderful. I love Brantford.
And we have
we
have a lot of wonderful things that are working. So help us make sure that we're aware of all of those things that are already here that we can leverage and grow in order to help achieve this outcome. In addition, we have a survey. Right, so if you go to the website, you'll see there's a hyperlink to the survey. It's currently available in both English and Spanish, and we're hoping it's going to be available in 2 Chinese dialects soon, as well as in French.
Is there a big Chinese population and French population?
Yes, actually, we're growing. We're very diverse, right? We're a wonderfully diverse and increasingly diverse community, culturally and in terms of language, as that means. So. Right now we have a large Spanish-speaking population. We also have a large Asian-speaking population, and these 2 Chinese dialects, Mandarin and Cantonese, are just 2 of many. And we have an increasing French population. It's very interesting. Many of them are associated with Yale.
You must, do you find the same is true with other communities that you work with, the diverse population and the needs of the community?
Well, certainly the demographics around the region are changing. But in terms of the needs, I'd say we're particularly excited about this work in Brantford, but we're also working with other communities as well that are focused on early childhood issues, and we're trying to support and be engaged with all of them, because we think young children are our future, and we think that this window of time in a child's life is so important for getting them on the right path. And so we're working with similar collaboratives in other communities like Hamden, like New Haven, like West Haven, like East Haven.
Are you finding similarities among the needs, or is there each community unique?
I would say there are similarities. There's a definite need for more and higher quality early care and education in every community, particularly for infants and toddlers. I think universally parents feel the need for more information and support. You know, being a parent is a wonderful job, and it's the hardest job that you're never prepared for, ever.
Absolutely.
And people need that support. And then I think making sure that what happened, at least in some communities, I can't speak specifically to Brantford, you could speak to this, Kate, is making sure that the early grades are developmentally appropriate for young children. You know, we have really, you asked earlier what's different for children in entering kindergarten. The expectations are very different now in terms of what children should be able to do in the early grades. And I think high expectations are absolutely appropriate, and we should have them for all children. But you have to teach in a way that builds on children's abilities and strengths.
A friend of mine